Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I came out here to take some photos of my van which I'm about to sell, and I thought it would be a really good idea to tell you why I'm stopping living in this and, you know, all of the ups and downs that I had along my journey. So let's jump in, because I'm filming in the middle of suburbia and it's really awkward. This is mostly going to be me talking about the cons of van life, because for me, you know, it was mostly cons. And I'm filming this in the middle of a suburban street, so if you hear weird noises or whatever, that's why. So the first reason I stopped doing van life is because of what's happening right now. The lack of privacy was really confronting for me. I had this vision of van life that was like, I'm going to be living in the forest, off-grid constantly, and it just never ended up being so, for a number of reasons which I'll get into. So for me, I was spending the majority of my time close to a town, and it just was not enjoyable. I have to shower, you know, in public showers and use public toilets, and that's not like a big issue for me. My downtime was always outside. I used to have to do my dances like outside. I could not like do a lot of my self-care stuff, which was, you know, I sound super privileged saying that, and I am definitely super privileged, but just having that lack of privacy was very confronting for me, because I do love my introverted time. I do love having that time for myself. It's really sacred for me. Leading on from that, the second biggest reason that I stopped doing van life was because of my mental health. So it kind of just wasn't a supportive space for me. There was no real space for me to do my art, and you know, I'd occasionally do watercolors and stuff, but I love having like a space to do my art in, to have dedicated to my work. And that being said as well, whilst I was in the van was the busiest work period of my life. Like, I was doing 2 retreats at once, all of that stuff. Just like not a super supportive space for the lifestyle that I was living. Mental health wise, I just felt really ungrounded, and I think that the gradual fear of constantly feeling out of place and constantly feeling like, why am I living in a car, and that like fear that someone's going to knock on your window in the middle of the night and say, move, you're not allowed to park here. It was very, very tough for me. Very tough for me. I'm a very, very sensitive person, and I think that over time that just took its toll on me. So those were the main reasons that I quit. Another one being COVID. It was just, I'd already made the decision to quit van life when I got back from WA, but as I got back the situation progressed, and I was just like, there's just no way that I'm going to be able to be nomadic given this situation. Cool, so now I'm going to get into some of the big mistakes and like the big things that went wrong during my van life time, just so that you guys can learn from my mistakes and maybe get a bigger picture of why I didn't like van life. Because it's not like all van life sucks, because I can imagine that, you know, being in a bus or being in a beautiful kitted out van would be really beautiful, like a beautiful reliable vehicle, but for me there were just a few things that just kept going wrong, and it was really stressful for me to deal with. So the first one being, I bought this van pretty impulse. So you guys might remember, as I bought this van, my lease was out, there was bushfire on my property, I, you know, just crashed my car, like all this shit was hitting the fan, and I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? So I moved into a van, because I was like, I've always wanted to do van life. And because I was kind of desperate to just get it and get on the road, I bought this van, which has, and please don't come at me, 400 and something thousand kilometers. So, you know, it's a 93 van as well, so it's got done a lot of kilometers and it's very old, so there were absolutely some mechanical issues. Me being me, I was like, yeah, it's fine, I feel really drawn to it, so let's just follow my intuition. So I did that, and it just kind of ended up being, you know, a lot more financially than I anticipated. You know, I thought, cool, I'll be rent free, like this will be super sweet. What ended up happening was I crashed my car, completely totaled it, and that was the money that I was going to use to pay for this and pay for the repairs, and then I ended up having to, you know, pay for the repairs of this van on top of it. So in terms of price specifics, I do want to be open with you guys. I got this van for around $7,000, which I don't think it was worth that much. When I bought it, she was like, oh, it's got a fridge, second battery, like it's all kitted out. I did get it serviced by a mechanic. She said there were no mechanical issues, and I was like, there'll be mechanical issues. I got it serviced by a mechanic, and there were heaps of mechanical issues, but I was like, I kind of overlooked them. It was going to be around about $1,000 to fix all of them, but I kind of didn't really acknowledge like the gravity of how much effort that would take. So I kind of just bought it. I fixed up pretty much all of those mechanical issues, and then pretty much like a couple of days after I was in here, like the fridge broke, and you know, because I'd just crashed my car and done all this other stuff, I wasn't really in a position where I wanted to, you know, go and spend $400 buying a new fridge. So I actually just never ended up getting a fridge. Not a fun idea, guys, to live without a fridge for a few months. It's just like not the way that you want to go. And because I didn't have a fridge, you know, I wasn't able to keep food for very long, which meant I had to stay in town so I could stay close to amenities, so I could still cook and eat. The second big thing that happened was the lady that sold this van to me sold it to me with fleas in it. Like, I'm still so livid about it. So I would get the most restless nights of sleep the first couple of weeks I was in here. And it took me 2 months to get rid of the fleas. Like, borax after borax, you know, just... I eventually got rid of them, which is awesome. But even after I got rid of them, this thing needs a mattress protector. Like, it was very uncomfortable sleeps. I already have a bad back. And, you know, it just ended up progressing, and I would wake up with really severe back pains. I don't think I got a good night's sleep in this van ever. Like, I was always waking up in the middle of the night. And that again took its toll on my mental health, and it kind of all circled. This is the worst lighting ever. I'm actually going to continue this video inside. It's pissing me off in here. It's giving me bad juju. So, I'm back. Yeah, I was up to the fleas. It's like a whole saga. Luckily, I'm not a princess, so, you know, it was kind of, you know, it wasn't ideal, but I wasn't like totally livid at the scenario, essentially. I found it so difficult in the van to work and to create, particularly on social media. Like, I just didn't want to, and I knew that I would be able to be supported by doing social media, by making YouTube videos, and everyone kept saying like, I want to vlog, I want to vlog, I want to see like what you get up to with van life, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It made me feel really yucky when I did, and that just wasn't where I wanted to be at. Food, creation, work, fleas, bad back kind of problems. So if you are thinking of doing van life, what I would definitely recommend is getting a van that has solar kitted up, because mine had a second battery attached to the main battery. So basically the second battery, which is what powered my devices, that is what gave me power when I would go, you know, off grid, like camping and stuff like that. So I had like a little second inverter that I had to connect to the main, the second battery, and that inverter would only last on the second battery, charging my laptop, it would only last about 15 minutes before it would make the warning beep and automatically switch off. So I would definitely recommend getting a really good quality inverter, one that's already built in and one that's attached to solar, because it would just, you know, it would still work on my phone, and I'm still not quite sure what was going on, but it wouldn't work on my laptop charger and the inverter. But basically this video is like not a rant, it's just a whole list of my mistakes, which, you know, I'm glad to have worked through and learnt through, and hopefully I can give you guys some things to look out for, because it just ended up being a bit of a shit show for me. Talking more about some positives of the experience, being able to like travel, like I did a couple of little adventures whilst I was in the van, and they were really fun. Like, you could park, there were some places where you could park on the beach. Wiki Camps is really good to figure out where, and, you know, talking to locals as well. And a couple of, you know, situations where I went and stayed in the forest, and that was so beautiful. That's when I was like, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. That was when I was like, I love this lifestyle, but it just ended up being more towards the other end of the polarity and more towards a really stressful and not enjoyable experience, I suppose. So yeah, for me, I didn't experience any loneliness. I experienced like I needed more alone time. I felt drained from being around so many people for so long. And the last calamity, which was the final fucking straw, was an ants decided to build a nest in my van. And I was like, really? After the fleas? So what happened was I went to WA for a month doing some work over there, visiting my family, staying in their beautiful home with a shower and kitchen. And I came back to this like dump of a van with just like an ant's nest in it, and we just had this huge rainstorm and I'd left one of the windows open and it just smelled all moldy, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't for me. So that is essentially the reason why I stopped doing van life. Final advice that I'd have to give to you is give it a crack. You never know, it could be fun. I would do it with a rental van first so you can really get a feel for the lifestyle. I mean, I love the lifestyle personally, but it was just all of those little like niggly things that went wrong that just like, yeah, that made me want to just have my own space. Yeah, I suppose for me, I really prioritize my mental health. I really prioritize self-care. And my creativity and my work life, and you know, that's always going to come number one. And as much fun as it was, you know, frolicking and really experiencing what I say, like real life, really experiencing real life quite intensely for those few months, like that is an experience that I will definitely cherish, but it just ended up not being for me, I suppose. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below. I hope that I've given you some solid, practical, grounded ways to avoid getting an ant's nest and a flea infestation in your van, because it's not fun. Would not recommend. I love you all. Bye.